There's a storm brewing in Miami, and it's not just about the Dolphins' playoff hopes, it's about the future of the franchise's leadership. Reports are swirling that Chris Grier, the Miami Dolphins' long-tenured general manager, could be stepping away from the GM chair. CBS Sports' Jonathan Jones broke the news, suggesting that Grier might transition into a senior advisor role. The ripple effect of this potential move has sparked conversations not just in South Florida but across NFL circles. And honestly, how do we even begin to unpack this? First off, let's address the elephant in the room, Stephen Ross. The 84-year-old Dolphins owner is no stranger to controversy or bold moves. The question everyone's asking is whether he would be willing, or even eager, to spearhead the search for a new general manager. After all, Grier has been a steady presence in the Dolphins organization for over 2 decades, starting in 2000 as part of the scouting department before taking over as GM in 2016. He's well-liked within the building, respected by many, and clearly, Ross values loyalty. But is loyalty enough to justify keeping the status quo? That's the million-dollar question. Let's not sugarcoat it, Grier's tenure has been polarizing. On one hand, the Dolphins have been consistently competitive under his leadership. If Miami beats the New York Jets this weekend, it'll mark their 5th straight winning season. That's not something to scoff at in today's NFL, where parity rules and sustained success is rare. And yet, for all their regular season achievements, the postseason has been a barren wasteland. The Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since the year 2000. Let that sink in, 2000. Grier's critics argue that while he's kept the Dolphins afloat, he hasn't built a team capable of truly contending on the biggest stages. And then there's the issue of the trenches. If you're a Dolphins fan, you've heard this story before. The offensive line has been a glaring weakness for years, and 2024 has been no different. Miami ranks 31st in rushing yards per carry, a stat that feels like a gut punch when you consider the explosive weapons they have at skill positions. It's impossible to ignore the underwhelming play from guards like Robert Jones and Liam Eichenberg. Back in August, when concerns about the interior O-line were raised, Grier brushed them off, saying, "You guys are probably more worried than we are." Fast forward a few months, and it's clear those concerns were valid. How does this keep happening? How does an organization with so much talent elsewhere fail to address such a fundamental issue year after year? Backup quarterback was another glaring problem that reared its head this season. Everyone knew Tua Tagovailoa's injury history was a potential issue heading into 2024, yet the team seemed ill-prepared when Tua went down. Skylar Thompson wasn't the answer, and it wasn't until they plucked Tyler Huntley from the Ravens' practice squad that they found someone serviceable. These are the kind of missteps that drive fans crazy. It's not about hindsight, it's about foresight, something Grier's critics argue has been lacking. Injuries haven't helped matters. The Dolphins have been ravaged by them this year, and while some of that comes down to sheer bad luck, it's also fair to question the team's approach to roster building. Grier has a history of drafting and signing players with significant injury concerns. Is it bad luck when it happens over and over, or is it a pattern of risky decision-making? It's a tough pill to swallow when those gambles don't pay off. But let's give credit where it's due. Grier has also made some undeniably brilliant moves, the kind that make you think, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Acquiring Tyreek Hill last year was a game-changer, and the additions of Jalen Ramsey and Bradley Chubb further cemented Miami as a team with star power. This past offseason, Grier was aggressive, bringing in veterans like Calais Campbell, Jonnu Smith, and Jordan Brooks while also nailing the draft with players like Chop Robinson, who's already making waves as a rookie. These moves show a GM who knows how to build a talented roster. The question is, can that talent translate to playoff success? And that's really what it all comes down to, isn't it? Success. Not just regular season wins, but the kind of success that makes fans believe their team has a legitimate shot at a Super Bowl. For all of Grier's accomplishments, that belief has been hard to come by. The Dolphins are good, but are they great? That's the shadow hanging over his legacy. If Grier does step aside, the Dolphins will face a crossroads. Do they promote from within, sticking with someone who shares Greer's philosophy, or do they bring in an outsider to shake things up? And how will Stephen Ross, a man not known for his patience, handle this transition? Will he demand immediate results, or will he give the next GM time to build something special? The answers to these questions could shape the franchise for years to come. For now, all eyes are on Sunday's game against the Jets. It's a chance for Miami to lock in a winning season and take another step toward the playoffs. But even as we focus on the present, the future looms large. If Grier is indeed on his way out, his replacement will inherit a roster loaded with talent but burdened by expectations. Can they finally deliver what Dolphins fans have been craving for over 2 decades? Only time will tell. One thing's for sure, the Dolphins are at a pivotal moment in their history. What happens next could define the team's trajectory for years to come. And as fans, all we can do is hope they get it right.